Back on TYT Sports with the Power Panel, Jock Slade, Francis Maxwell, Jason Rubin. NBA Western Conference playoffs are here. Rejoice.
Yay!
The journey of this season has been remarkable. We've watched a lot of the Warriors games. We've watched the Spurs. I've watched even like the frickin' Suns.
It's been the best 4 years of my life, the NBA season.
The best 4 years of your life. The finals are set for June 2nd, where it's April. I don't have a watch on. Regardless, it's 2 months before we even get there. But with the Western Conference playoffs this year, it's going to be more than exciting. It's probably the toughest slate of the Western Conference we've seen in, maybe a decade. I mean, there were so many times the Lakers ran through the Western Conference playoffs, and of course the Spurs, 03, 05, 07. And the balance of power shifts between the conferences, but obviously it's on the Western side of the world right now. So, NBA West chart for the matchups. Could have put that any other way. That would have been simpler, but regardless, here it is. Golden State Warriors against the Houston Rockets, a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. The Clippers and the Damian Lillards, Coach Terry Stotts and the Portland Trail Blazers exceeded their estimated win count by 10. I lost a lot of money on it. Oklahoma City versus Dirk's Dallas Mavericks, and the San Antonio Spurs and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, if all breaks down accordingly, we are looking at the Warriors and the Clippers and the Thunder and the Spurs in the second round. I only see one potential upset, and that is the Blazers.
Yes.
Gentlemen, is there any other potential upsets? Could Dirk go crazy and just ruin the Thunder?
No.
No, a hard no.
Dirk could go Kobe.
No, Dirk could go crazy and go Kobe, but that's, again, it's
not enough.
It's not enough. You're looking at a Oklahoma team this year that Russell Westbrook playing out of his mind, undoubtedly for me, the runner-up MVP. It's amazing how you give him such a good award, because it's like, it should be like a regular MVP award, because Steph Curry, of course, is in his own
league.
You've
been so
like,
good. Here's a silver medal.
Yeah, you go. Like, that's the best goddamn silver medal you're ever going to get.
You're ever going to get.
He's been going off. Kevin Durant, of course. Well, I mean, I mentioned to Jason, as long as OKC, for me, still put as much faith in Kevin Durant, specifically in the fourth quarter, if they come up against any adverse situation against the Mavs, I think that they'll still comfortably go through. But the good thing about Dallas this year is there's certain games where I'm undoubtedly blown away by how they can pick themselves out from struggling games. But then I go back to the game I noticed against the Spurs, against a well-organized Spurs team that was in Dallas, and they destroyed them. And Dallas, they just absolutely demolished them. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the Spurs when they're so mechanical. We talk about they're so mechanical. They just find ways. They don't have to wait for an open shot. They wait for the clearest of open shots that's going to guarantee them the easiest bucket. Some people think that's boring. Some people think there's too many passes. No, it's not. It's smart and efficient basketball. Whereas OKC are, for me, they're going to look to find Westbrook and Durant as open as possible. And I think as long as they don't have any hiccups, they'll go through. But I'm interested to get your point on that. And the upset, which I agree with, potentially, of the Trailblazers.
As for that Blazers matchup, and of course we want to touch on Dirk as well, the Blazers have, like I said, exceeded every expectation. Their coaching is so great. Terry Stotts is creative, and C.J. McCollum, the Lehigh product of all places, really stepped up. 4 of 5 starters lost in the past season, one of which is going to possibly make a run to the finals with the Spurs. What is it with the Clippers that bogs them down about the playoffs? Because last year they should have been in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, it's such a tough decision, tough thing with the Clippers. You always, like, as a Laker fan, it's kind of hard to root for the Clippers. But when it comes to the playoffs, the Lakers aren't there, so I default to the other LA team. Mm-hmm. And the Clippers are a good team. Like, they're a good team. They're not a bad team. It's just, for some reason, they just can't pull it together in those pressure moments. I feel like it's those, that old thing, pressure bust pipes. And when they get to that point, like, I want to see Chris Paul win. And
it's also Jamal Crawford, because I love Jamal Crawford.
Right, I agree.
Kind of want him to win too.
Agreed. Yeah. I think those guys they're a good group of guys. Jamal, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake. You want to see them win, and they put themselves in the position to win
every year.
You're right. Every year it seems like they're right there on the cusp, and then it's almost like that person that knows that has the ability to do something, but they haven't been doing it for so long, so they default to that behavior where they're like,
it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. They mess themselves up,
right,
even though they're in a position to really make things happen.
The only difference I will say about the Clippers this year that I think might work in their favor is they played a lot of the season without Blake, right? And they understood that they could close out games without Blake Griffin, without having Doc Rivers draw up plays to try and emphasize getting Blake open or having Blake take the final shot, and they actually had to put more emphasis on, probably just the most clutch player on your team, Chris Paul, and have him deliver or find an easy pass to DeAndre, who's been phenomenally done so well within the paint and actually posted up a lot, because I think his free throw percentage it's still awful, but he trusts himself a little bit more.
But you're right. That's what I was going to say. He does trust himself more, and his footwork is getting ever so much better. And even a slight adjustment in that, and his touch around the rim, which is a major problem as he's grown, but he's getting better. Of course, Chris Paul makes him look much better than he probably is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's I almost think that Chris Paul trusts his teammates too much.
Yeah.
That how many times have we seen Paul drive the lane and kick it when he could probably just take the shot, and I think I want Chris Paul taking that shot.
Yeah, I think anyone would want Chris Paul taking that shot, but it's also his role as a leader on the team to get those guys that sort of confidence that they need, so when those big moments come, like in the playoffs, they can make those baskets, and it's not foreign to them to get the ball. Like, you want them to be comfortable in those high-pressure moments. I'm going to get the ball. If I do get the ball, I know I can make this shot. And Chris Paul, as the captain, like that's kind of his role throughout the season. Get these guys the ball, get them ready, and hopefully this year they can make that decision. But like you said earlier, they're in a tough position because they're up against the Blazers, and like Dame is on a tear. He is on
player,
a
man.
tear.
Unbelievable.
He has no softness for anyone. Like, he's going against anyone. Like, he's always, I feel like he's always felt like he's been the underdog, and he's been treated like the underdog. A lot of people didn't give him the respect that he deserved. And now he's like fully taking that out on people, like, you are going to pay.
Another player that's fallen victim to the Steph Curry era. Like, he's had a brilliant season, and he firmly deserves, as we mentioned, All-Star mentions, and to be involved in Team USA, and in a position that's just so deep that it's just unfortunate, because it's like, you are undoubtedly one of the best guards in the league, but you are just within a competitive category with Russ and Steph Curry and the way they've been playing this year. But again, he's a game changer, and he can prove once again how vital he is. Because I think, as we mentioned, when you look at how it's going to break down, I think that might be for the only one for me that could be an upset. I can't see past San Antonio and Golden State in the finals, but you never know what will happen.
Yeah, look, so they did a poll for the Rockets-Warriors series, and they asked fans of the Houston Rockets. I got to find this, but I'll definitely leave it in the description box below. And the initial results from it started this way more a little bit towards the Rockets at the end. But the initial results after like an hour was 100% of Rockets fans think that they will not win the series against Golden State. So even the Rockets fan base, who is also biased towards their team, you are allowed to be. I get shit on all the time because of not liking the Houston Rockets or their brand of basketball. But the Warriors are going to demolish them. And that doesn't mean they don't lose a game. I mean, look, the playoffs don't start until somebody loses on their home court.
Right.
The Warriors are not going to lose on their home court, and I can't imagine the Spurs losing on their home court. But to wrap this side of the playoffs off, it would be great to see Clippers-Warriors second round, a nice heated rivalry that's been brewing between those two.
Right.
Thunder-Spurs. And then you're out of your mind unless you are a diehard Thunder supporter or a diehard Clippers supporter if you don't want to see arguably the greatest Western Conference Finals matchup in the history of the NBA, and that is the Spurs and the Warriors.
Right.
We can talk about that for days, but we need predictions. If it is Spurs-Warriors, is it Warriors or is it Spurs?
Warriors Game 7.
Jock?
I'm going to go Warriors. But I don't even think they're going to make it 7 games. I think they're going to go. I think it's going to be like 5 or 6 games.
You think it's going to be 5? Just a domination?
Yeah, I think they're going to dominate. I mean, that last game where they played the Spurs at home kind of showed you where they are and that they can go. Like the Spurs. I mean, the Spurs play well. I mean, you can't deny that. But I think if Golden State is being Golden State, then it's going to be hard for the Spurs to really to stop that. It's amazing how well they're playing together. And it's not even just Steph. Like a lot of people are just
Draymond
giving it to Steph. But yeah, I was gonna say Draymond Green and
Harry
Clay
Barnes back too.
Yeah, like they're not giving those other guys enough credit.
If Spurs are like we talked about Danny Green this year and how he's been heating up more so towards the end. If he goes off in the playoffs, right, and Pop draws up plays to specifically highlight LaMarcus Aldridge, who you've been mentioning. He's just going to unleash him.
Just wait
if he goes off in a couple of 30-point games.
Wait for his
40-point games.
I'm telling you, the prediction I'm making. Wait for his 43-point game on like 19 of 23 shooting.
Yeah, if he goes off in something like that, then that's where I think. I still think Golden State win, but that's where I think they force maybe a game 7 if they're able to do that.
I think we're all in agreement here. I think the Warriors win that series. I think it's 6. I mean, look, it's hard to sweep in the playoffs, and especially the teams in the caliber that we're seeing.
It's a team that's won most of like people. Yes, they lost the last game against Golden State, but they've won.
The Spurs or the Warriors?
Yeah, no, the Spurs lost the last game at home. But how many games have they won at home this season? The best home record in the history of the NBA.
They won 40 games at home. 40-1. But I think we're all in agreement here. We're going to do the Eastern Conference side too. You can click on somewhere over here. You can click on Jock to check out the Eastern Conference Finals preview clip. But we're all in agreement here. The East is in danger because the West is going to truck the playoffs. As it is, it's going to be very watchable. As for the Thunder, they can't play well in the fourth quarter. Done. Out. They're probably going to lose to the Spurs, and they won't lose to the Mavericks, though. I don't think so. But we're rooting for Dirk. We talk too much. Comment below, guys. I want all predictions for the first round.
He's holding his pose. He's going to click there for the East.
Oh, keep clicking on Jock. There it is. Smile. Yeah. Oh my God. They're going to be like, okay. Oh my God. See what happens if you don't click? He freezes. You froze our friend Jock. Like, favorite, subscribe, at Cousteau, at Francis_Maxwell, at JasonUber91. NBA fans, Jock has the NBA sneaker of all sneaker channels. It's youtube.com/Cousteau.
Click that again.
To 200,000 subscribers. And he has to get to 300,000 subscribers before tomorrow, or he'll never upload a video again. Just kidding. Comment below. We'll see you next time.